Hey, everybody. Welcome to another session of Sister Story. I am your girl, Renee, one of the co hosts, along with Erica, Sylvia, Tori, and Ro. Listen, tonight we are talking about coulda, shoulda, and woulda. Y'all know that song by NDRE. Yeah, you know it. It's a good one, right? Well, tonight we're going to talk about regrets. And then we're going to look at it, though, from a different spin, right? We're going to talk about regrets and how we can move forward from that, right? So, it's always okay to go back and reflect, but just as long as you don't stay there. But we're going to talk about some coulda, shoulda, wouldas because I believe some sisters might be dealing with that tonight. So we're going to talk about it. So hang tight and we'll be right back.
Hello.
Hey, Tarina in your pants.
Hello.
Hey
Hello.
y'all.
Look, it's three of us tonight. And we are,
Three.
And there was three.
and then there was three. And hopefully a fourth one will join soon. But
Yes.
if they don't, we're excited to be here tonight. Listen, I just want to give a shout out to those who may have caught the replay of Sister Story sessions on Clubhouse. We kind of kicked off the conversation there earlier today at noon, and tonight though we're delving into it. So the Clubhouse conversation is like where you can come on the virtual stage and you can share your story, your experience, and we may mention it that night or the night of the show and just kind of have some conversation around what was said. And so, but again, it's a great setup for the show. So be sure to join us if you can on your lunch break, if that's your lunch break, or if you're sitting at your desk and you just working, plug in your earplugs on your phone and join us on Clubhouse Mondays at noon. I am so excited about tonight's topic. It is coulda, shoulda, and woulda. And listen, y'all, I listened to the song by NDRE like three times last night in a row. Because at one point, Tori, I was going to plan a 50th birthday party. And I told Tori I wanted to sing this song. You remember that, Tori? And so it's just so powerful, though, because I love the lyrics in the song where it talks about why am I even thinking about that person or that thing or everybody else? I'm at this
Mhm.
point in my life, I'm going to stop worrying about other people because a lot of our couldas and shouldas and wouldas are based on what we think other people might think if we do what we want to do, right?
Mm-hmm.
So a
Mm-hmm.
lot of times that has held us back. I know for me, that's my has been my experience, and so we're gonna kind of like talk about that tonight. The scripture is coming from Proverbs 24:16. It says, "For a righteous man may fall seven times and rise again, but the wicked shall fall by calamity." And there's some other scriptures too that I may bring out tonight too around that I talked about on the Clubhouse conversation today. But yeah, so y'all, what's going on with the coulda, shoulda, wouldas in y'all's lives?
Well, I do wish I shoulda, and sometimes I wish I coulda, and other time I wish I would have. But I think just as a plain conversation, I think many of us can say that. I think at some point in our lives we've used that statement. It's so it's just a common statement that happens. And when I look at
Mm-hmm.
that statement by itself, I think that it represents the past. And it also it represents the past of something that you're trying to move forward in the future. And I know for myself when I one thing I can look back sometimes and I say, man, I wish I what would have happened if I shoulda, coulda, woulda went to
Mm-hmm.
school the way I should have, because I ended up wasting 6 years of my life playing around. Well, at the time, those days of playing around were good days. I wasn't focused on, the future. I often call myself a late bloomer, because I played around so much and I lost so much time. But in that, I can say that there were some things that were birthed from my former mistakes. I never would have written a book had I not gone through the shoulda, coulda, wouldas. And I was able to discover my potential because I began to search. But I do think sometimes that as we begin to move forward, and if we focus too much on the past, then we will never be able to move forward in the future. And I think
Mhm.
that sometimes we get stuck there. It's so easy to get stuck in the past because and when you get stuck in the past, you do not unlock your potential.
Right.
You don't search to find out, what can I really do? What is really out there for me to do? Because you're so stuck in the fact that I wished I would have. But at some point, you've got to let that go and you have to focus on what you know that is still promised to you, what you know is in your heart that you still want to do. As you read, Renee, what the scripture says that, a just man falls 7 times, but you got to get up. And I just want to tell somebody tonight, get up.
Mm.
Come
I
on.
I
I
want to
love
say,
it.
get up. You have fallen, and it's okay because I've fallen. I'm raising my toes. You can't see my toes. I'm raising my toes too. I've fallen, and I've gotten back up, and I've made some strides.
Yeah.
And if I can do it, you can do it too. So get up.
Mhm.
What you say, Tori? What do you say?
Well, I wanted to ask you a question. In your process of your 6-year journey of school, what made you change share? Could you just share, like, what was your push for you to say, okay, I gotta get this? What was the turning point for you?
The turning point for me was I got tired of going to the um, not parole board, but it was kind of like the academic board
Academic board,
for me to get back in school. I got tired of
the
trying to make
probation.
probation, yeah, the probate, yeah, like that, yeah, the probation board. I got tired of going before them and making up these sad stories. My grandmother died 10 times, she can only die, so many times. And the embarrassment of that. And when I went out homecomings, I didn't want to go to homecomings because those same friends were like, "Bro, what are you doing now?" And I was like, I couldn't really say anything, didn't really know what to say. So I had to really take a look into myself. And sometimes that's a difficult thing to do to make a turnaround. But I had
Yeah.
to look into myself and I had to accept some hard truths about myself. And those some things and some hindrances that I wrote in my book. The last chapter in my book, I talked about the hindrances and some things that I had to face about myself and the ugly truths that I had to deal with. And that's when I began to pull myself out of that pity state.
Hmm.
I
That
love
was my
that.
turning point. Mhm.
Yeah, I love that. That I love the whole thing when we got the coulda, shoulda, woulda, and I was like, boy, even sometimes now that coulda, woulda, shoulda in situations that sometimes we still make those mistakes, right? Even as where we are in life, we've
Mhm.
gotten certain things where right, but we still struggle with those things. Sometimes I think about my relationship with my mom and my sisters. I really believe that sometimes even after mommy has passed, it's like I really wish I could have been bold enough in my words to ask what happened to us, why the separation, sometimes why, to me, I should have said something. I should have, as the eldest, I really should have said something. And woulda, things would probably be a little bit different if I would have done that. But I also know is that um, your process is your process. And for me, I always just ask God, just God, just guide me even in my conversations and relationships now, to be bold, to be gentle when it's time to be gentle, bold when I need to be gentle. I mean, need to be bold, but also too, just to be able to just to be me. If I make a mistake, own my mistake. If I did something, be quickly to go back instead of pointing the finger at others, just to go ahead and accept your flaws in it all. I love that scripture when it talks about a just man falls 7 times, but the grace allows us to continue to get up and dust ourselves off. And, even though when you see just resembles of that dust still on your clothes or on your ankles, because sometimes, have y'all ever put lotion on and you miss a spot?
And you see that.
And you see the ash. Well, well, I was going somewhere with every day, but it reminds you that sometimes be like, oh, I forgot to put lotion right here. Sometimes the enemy has an opportunity to show you where that dirt was, and if you look at it long enough, you'll find yourself in a space, be like, God, what, you in that comfort mode. But it's easy now, for me, or for, I hope for you too, when you see it, that you just look at it and be like, oh, cool, okay, let me get this oil and rub, and rub on me, because I have the oil that saturates me from the crown of my head to the soles of my feet, and that I am, God is a redeemer and he redeems you. And so, even in mistakes, just get up, cover it up, cover it, dust it off or wipe it, or even put oil on it to show the sign, the shine of your of the flaws, because sometimes flaws make you even better.
That's good. Listen, I'm listening. My phone, I'm trying to get the share button. Somebody tell me how to get the share button on my post so I can share. Because y'all can't share it from my page. And I don't know if y'all tagged y'all's profile when you came in or not. But yeah, I'm trying to share. But if it's in the Sister Story group, hopefully people are watching that way too. But hey, Celeste, good to see you. And hey, Elder Les. Hey, CC. Hey, CC. Yes, yes, yes. So, somebody tell me how to put that share button on my post. How to fix it.
I wish I knew.
I
Wish I
wish
knew.
I knew
Yeah.
too, sis. I'm like,
And I have to do this every week, but I don't see the button. It's
yeah.
like on my other post, but it's not on that one. Ah, terrible. Um, anywho, I wanted to share a piece of um something that Pastor Matt talked about yesterday. So we're in this series called Reaching Your Recovery.
Mhm.
And Ro and I have been talking about recompense for a long time.
Mhm.
And a lot of us are in a place where we feel like this should have been and happened for me by now, right? Some things that should have happened by now because of my faithfulness, because of whatever reason, right? Because of my commitment, my diligence to work and all these things. Some things we just feel like should have already happened. And it could already happen. So why hasn't it happened? And so, but one thing Pastor Matt brought out yesterday in the text was, and it's Luke 15 with the prodigal son, Luke 15, verses 11 through 22. One point that he really brought out that made me think of this topic tonight was looking at coulda, shoulda, woulda from the perspective of when the son asked the father for his inheritance,
Mhm.
and he went and spent it all and his possessions,
Mhm.
wasted possessions. That was so powerful to me. They're like just
Mhm.
really like a light bulb went off, and that's what made me think of what coulda, shoulda, woulda. It's uh, like I want everyone to think about tonight. What is it that you've asked God for and He's given it to you, and you might be wasting it? Like you're not
Mhm. That's
flowing
good.
in it, you're not
Mhm.
operating in it, you're not doing anything with it. That means you're wasting it. And one thing now, I believe, as he said, God will redeem the time. Like, I believe my latter days are going to be so much better. I believe since I have reached the 50 mark and over, that I'm in my latter years, right? And that it should be greater. I'm expecting it to be greater than my 40s and my 30s and my 20s. First of all, because I'm wiser and I know how to ask for wisdom. In my 20s, I didn't know how to ask for wisdom. Even in my 30s, until like I was 35, I learned that I can ask God for wisdom in a for everyday stuff, right?
Mhm.
Not just for spiritual
Mhm.
deep stuff, but for everyday stuff. And so, but have y'all ever thought about that? Like, what is it that I have that I've wasted? It's like wasted possessions or wasted time or wasted talents or wasted gifts that I could have been working on or developing so that it can then produce more in my life. And Eric and I were talking about so that we can enjoy it, right? Not just so you can, it's great to serve other people, but believe it or not, that abundant life is for us to enjoy.
Yeah.
Any
Yeah,
thoughts?
I think so. I think that's very relevant because when you were talking about that, what have we wasted? I think about Miles Monroe. I'm such a huge fan of Dr. Miles Monroe. Excuse my dog. I'm sorry. But he says the greatest room in the world is the graveyard because people have died full of their gifts and their talents and they didn't use them. And so I think that we should live in such a way to where we do not want our gifts and our potential to be a statistic of the graveyard. And so if you're like, oh, I'm going to carry this with me, you're not supposed to carry it with you. You know, like people say, I didn't get that recipe to Granny's cake. She wouldn't give nobody the recipe to her, pound cake. Why not, Granny? We need that recipe to that macaroni and cheese. We need the recipe to these things because why not, Granny? We really need that today. And they take it with them and it's not able to be reproduced. I'm not able to give those to my children, and my children are not able to pass that on to their children. So I think that when we get to that place to where we feel like, oh my goodness, I I don't know, I don't know what to do. I don't know what else to do. He's already given it to you. And I think that when you don't do it, that's a sign of disobedience too. So you have to see how are you pleasing God and how are you putting the gifts that he's given you back into the kingdom. That's my take. That's my take.
Yeah, I have to agree with you, Ro. I think it is. It's exactly what you said. I was thinking about, what is the wasted talent that you have? I can remember um, a point for me where I love jewelry. I love glitter, sparkly things. And, my desire was to really just do things with accessories and doing those things with accessories that one my what I really put forward was like, this is what I want to see, this is what I want to have. What I didn't do back then was welcome or invite the Lord into that process with me to really show I knew it was something there. Because when it's on you so strong, what I know now is that that was something that he really wanted. That was a gift and a talent that he gave me, but because I didn't invite him into the process, I got so focused on what I wanted to look like or what I wanted from it was the right now instead of nurturing it, staying with it, growing it, making it to where it could be a Kendra Scott now or another of jeweler that we all support and love. But those things is just that, it's just like those moments. It's like, wow, if I just could have, would have, should have known better what to do. But I thank God again. I love that passage, that scripture rather, Renee, that you gave us. It's just that, he continues to take us in a different direction, and the love for it is still there for me. But it's just, I know that if it's really what he wants me to do, then it'll come in a way, or I could just be the one that showcases all what them diamond earrings at. No, but seriously, it's just that's one of the things that, when I think about that is a lost, it was I truly still believe that was just a lost gift, because it was what I wanted to see and what I wanted, and I didn't invite them. Now everything is just like, I invite you to the process.
Yeah, that's good, Tori. Inviting God to the process
Hmm.
is something really important. Like
Hmm.
I look back at my 19-year-old self, and there was a person, a couple of people, not just a person, but a couple of people who wanted to manage my singing career. And then it even happened in my 40s. Someone came to me and was like, "You should be known all over the world."
Mm.
And just said, let me manage you. And I can't tell you how fear just held me back.
Mm.
Held me back. Because first of all, in college, when that happened to me twice, they wanted me to sing secular, and I was really sanctified back then, y'all. I was really separated. I was consecrated and separated. But but here's the crazy part. But God has given me so many beautiful love songs, love ballads. I love ballads, right? And I plan to record them. And I've reached out to a couple of my musician friends to co-write a couple of them with me to finish them out. But I mean, there's some bad songs, like seriously. And I refuse, like Rose said, when I heard Dr. Miles Monroe said,
Mhm.
"Die empty,"
Mhm.
and I was listening to his tapes and things when I turned 50, right? I mean, I've been listening to him, but not with so much intentionality of like really listening to to move to my next place in life, right? Because when you turn 50, it's a different chapter. Even when you turn 40, it's a different. I cried when I turned 30, like because I feel like I had missed so many opportunities in my 20s, like. And I'm a young mother, and I'm like, what? I feel like I can't live my dreams. And at that time, I felt like I couldn't live my dreams. So I just be smart and do really great at work and build a career, which I'm grateful that happened. But there were so many other things, right? And so I decided that I'm going to record every song at some point. And I'm so glad that we have a process by which we do that now with our label, the Saint Sister Sing. And we were intentional in saying we're going to do this, and how we work towards it, like when you want to leave something, like I just really want to impact people's lives. I want to enjoy my life, right? So like I'm going to be intentional and get my passport, because I still hadn't done that, because we supposed to go travel together. And Tori told us to have our passport by February, and I still hadn't done that. So your girl gonna get a passport though. I'm gonna have it before December 31st. I promise. I promise. Y'all hold me to that. December 31st, I'm gonna have my passport by then. But it's just the intentionality works with, or has to be present in operating in your gifts. Like you can't be passive about it. You know what I mean? Like how can the prodigal son go? I mean, or how can the son go to his father and say, "Just give me my stuff, what I'm gonna get when you gone"? That's like as if it doesn't mean anything. And then he just spends it, just spends it. And I
So
don't. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I wasn't trying to interrupt, but you said something, but I wanted you to kind of dive a little deep with that. When you say be intentional,
Oh
you
yeah.
know, what do you mean about being intentional?
That means I'm gonna study what I need to study. I'm gonna learn what I need to learn. I'm gonna get the skill set I need to get. I'm gonna develop I'm gonna work on that gift till it becomes great. And
Mhm.
then I'm
Mhm.
gonna present it. And that's the way I do in everything I do now. Like I'm gonna work on it. I'm gonna get it. Like, well, I just got stuff all around. But I can just think of how intentional that I am now. And I'll be honest with you, under Pastor Matt's leadership, when I first joined the church, even though he's my brother, but when I joined the church in 2019, he was just teaching on capacity. And I just started looking at my life a little differently, like in being productive, because when you are transitioning in your life and in your age, you start thinking about things a little differently, right? And so there has to be intentionality around your skill sets. I mean, what are you going to do? Who am I and what am I bringing to the world? I will not die with all my songs in me. I will not die with all these ideas in me. And y'all know I dream and I dream big and I share some of it with you all that pertains to our show. So, and we're intentional about our show because we had a long conversation and coaching session after our last week's show. You know why? Because that's intentional, right? So being coached for us was important.
Mm,
Yeah. I think
yes.
too that when you talk about being intentional, if you are a person who is not happy with where you are, then you need to do an intentionality check, to see, what have I been doing that I've just frivolously wasted my time and not being intentional about it. And because there is something that you can weed out. I guarantee I'm in that process of weeding out some things now so that I can make myself available toward those things and to those things that I need to do, and to make time for the things that I know that I need to make time for in order to get some things done. And so, when you think about, we talked about, Dr. Miles Monroe, and I absolutely love him so much. And I even talk about him in my book. But one thing about it is that you have to be able to, like we talked about, get back up. Like you got to get up and you got to move. Once you get up, you have to take some action. You got to get up. You can't just stay in the past. One of the scriptures, what Philippians 3:13, it talks about reaching forth, reaching forth for those things. So you got to run, you got to run this race. You got to reach for. We're getting ready to have a 5K at my church. And so I used to didn't have to train. Now I have to train because I haven't been doing anything. I've been intentional with this fork, putting it in my mouth, and then lately that's been my intention. So now I have to weed out some things. So now I got to train myself. I have to put myself back into the running. I used to be able to place. I used to make like first, second place. But I probably won't do that this year, but I just want to finish. And maybe that's the mindset that we need to have, is that, you know what? I just want to finish what I've started. So you have to move. In order to do that, you have to move, and you have to put yourself back into the game, put yourself back into the swing of things, and reach forth. Reach forth. I mean, like reach as hard as you can
I
to be
love
able
that,
to
Rose.
go to those things, through those things that you have to do.
Oh goodness, that just make me think about this here, and you're talking about transparency. You know, um, I can remember, leaving my former employer and getting to my current employer, and I can remember just saying to myself, "Stay the course." When it gets tough, remember to stay the course. Stay focused, believe, even in the tough moments, believe, finish it, finish it. If you don't have anything else to, if you don't believe anything else can come, you reach your goals. The one ultimate goal is stay and finish the course. Whether you succeed or don't succeed, stay. And I unpack that a little bit. Sometimes when you're in a tough spot, for me, tough spots, I get real antsy and anxiety picks up on me. And that's true. That is still very true to this day. Anxiety can really impact when it's like a whole lot. I don't like drama, y'all. Woo. When it gets all up here, it'd be like, ooh, okay, bye, 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 bye. But for me, it's just like facing it with the boldness to say, finish it, walk through the fire, because it's something greater on the other side of it. And so staying the course, being intentional about the course allows you to do that. Stay the course, stay, go through the fire. Don't quit. When you see it, like Renee said, just keep studying, keep working. It may not work, but keep going at it. I love that. That's one of the things that I keep saying to myself: stay the course, keep going, don't stop. Right about now, this point in life, it's like you can't do what you did when you were 20 or 30, uh heck, roll even 40, you know. It's just that it's a difference, and you just got to show up different for yourself. If you don't do it for anybody, show up for yourself. Show up for yourself. Show yourself that you can do it, that I can do this, that when the moments get tough, listen, take it and learn from it and become stronger through it. It's almost sort of like, okay, I'm almost done. Why I hear Matt in my head? Okay, I'm sorry, Matt. I'm
Oh, it's good.
sorry.
You're good. You're good. Good.
I'm
Good, good,
sorry. I'm
good.
so sorry. It
We
was like,
see you,
oh,
sis.
Go
We see
ahead and
you.
take Sylvia and Erica's time. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's
You
right.
can
Right,
still
right,
go
girl.
ahead.
I know
Go
Matt is
ahead.
dying laughing right now. Oh, I know Matt dying laughing. But listen, I don't even know what I was about to say. Go on to something else, y'all.
So listen. Speaking of Pastor Matt, but he said, I'm gonna put his comment up on the screen. He said, when you're upset, and this came from what World said, when you're upset with where you are, you may be upset with who you are.
Oh,
And when I tell you that is so true, like as women, well, probably anybody, but it's like have you ever looked at yourself in the mirror and said, I know you can do better than this. I know you got more in you. Now you
Mhm.
know you can do better than this. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Like we really know that. Like we know this to be true. So we can avoid future coulda, shoulda, wouldas just by making up first of all, making the decision that we're gonna do it.
yeah,
Mhm.
I mean, you know what I'm saying? It's like,
Yeah.
yeah, like Tori said, stay the course.
Yeah.
Like, because I guarantee you, I can say that I feel so successful because I haven't quit. Like in my business, I haven't quit because it's
Mhm.
easy to throw in the towel when you don't get clients. It's so easy to say, I'm going to go back to what I'm familiar with and what I'm good at, because I am good at other stuff. But when I feel like this is my calling, that I'm meant to serve people in this
Mhm.
particular way, and that this is going to bring financial increase and freedom to my life, then
Mhm.
you have to stick with it, and that's being intentional. We have to be intentional about our lives. Like we can't just haphazardly. We're not just gonna haphazardly marry somebody. I hope
Mhm.
not.
Mhm. Mhm.
For those who are single or whatever, you want to be intentional about the relationships you enter, right, Tori?
Mhm.
absolutely,
Yeah,
Mhm.
absolutely.
yeah. You,
So
you
I
got to
love
be
it.
intentional about who you birthed as a child, whether it's a girl or
Mhm,
a boy. But you can't be intentional in training them up in the way that they should go, and
Mhm.
have the
mhm.
fear of God.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. I so love this conversation. Coulda, woulda, shoulda. I mean, we can stay here and have these conversations for a long time, because
Mhm.
I am certain that there is something that, whether if it's relationships with a friend, or a relationship, with someone that you may have dated, or just even your children. Sometimes you think about those relationships with your children, and what you could have may have, really, I really wish I could have did this and this. If I would have done better, the outcome may have been this here.
Mhm.
We can have those conversations. I know I got plenty of them.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Look, writing a book about it.
right. And the good part is though too, Tori, is that but we don't we it's not that we live in the regret, but we
Yep.
learn from
Oh,
that.
yes.
It's like,
Hmm.
you know, like I could have put down the blueberry I ain't have to have it every night. You know what I mean? Because if I hadn't done it for so many months at a time, just having to keeping what is it, the big gallon, is it the gallon?
Mhm.
Yeah,
The gallon.
getting that. I didn't have to get it every week at the grocery store. I didn't have to eat the whole thing in a week, right? Because
Right.
that helped pack on the pounds. And then now
Mhm.
I'm regretting because they don't come off as easy as they come out. And so I have to be intentional about not buying it. And so I don't buy it. Even buying the small ones now, when I do get them, I'm intentional about not eating the whole thing at once
That's good.
time.
That's good. Yeah.
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 Yeah,
Yes.
it's one of those things, when we go back to looking at the theme, shoulda, coulda, woulda. I think that a person has to look at themselves and say, my present doesn't deserve my past.
Mm.
Oh, bro, that come on now.
Come
Yeah.
on, Ro. Unpack that, Ro.
Say it again.
Unpack
Say it
that.
again. Say it again and then unpack
That's all I got.
No, you got more.
That's
Ro,
all I
you got more, sis. You got some more with that. You can't
You
just
got
drop that
more.
and walk away.
But I think your present, I mean, I really, that just came to me and I really didn't have anything else, but let me see what comes behind it, what's going to come up. When you think about your present, where you are now, it's almost like we talked about, don't waste your oil. You've
Yeah.
come too far to turn around now. I don't care
Mm.
if you had to crawl, I don't care if you had to scratch, I don't care what you had to do to get through that shoulda, coulda, woulda past.
Yeah.
You have come too far to turn around now. And your past does not deserve where you are in your present. It doesn't
Mm.
deserve it. It's had its turn. Don't give your past and your present another turn. It
Mhm.
already had its turn. It didn't work. So learn from it. Pick up where you are. Put the pieces back together. Rearrange them and watch God begin to set you where you're supposed to go in the future. I
Yeah.
believe in what is it, Joel, what it says that he will restore the years that's been stolen from you.
Yeah.
And but he can't restore it until you begin to put them together again. You say, God, you know what? I don't want to focus on that anymore. That has
Mhm.
not got me anywhere. All it's done is got you going in a merry-go-round of disappointment, of fear. You're just going in a merry-go-round. In order to come out of that cycle, you've got to just say, you know what? God, I'm getting ready to give you the yes. Like the yes is everything. It just is.
Mhm.
Whenever you get ready to start something new, you just got, the yes, it just changes the whole trajectory of everything. And the enemy doesn't want us to say yes. He wants to keep us in that cycle. And I think Carmen may have said, Cece may have said something earlier about how the enemy keep bringing up our disappointments to us. And that's what he does because he doesn't want you to spiral out of your control. Like you're just spiraling because that's what you control is what you're spiraling in.
You
God wants you
control
to,
that.
yeah, you control what you're spiraling in.
Mm.
God wants to spiral you out of it. He's like, hey, let's get out of here. We got things to do. We got places to go. Your past has had its turn. Now give your present and your future that opportunity. You deserve that.
Yeah. I
You know,
love that.
I,
Go ahead, Renee.
okay, I often say that we have a part to play in our prosperity, in the abundant part of
Mhm.
our lives. When the scripture tells us in John 10:10 that the thief comes to do these things to you, to destroy you and kill and steal from you. But Christ has come that we might have abundant life. And I always said that might is on me. Am I going to accept it? And then am I going to do my part to help create that for me? Like I'm a big and I had to challenge my own self, y'all, last week. Ooh, especially Thursday and Friday. I was like, I feel like was it Jacob that wrestled with the Lord? Maybe I feel like me and God was fighting. And he kept pushing me and I pushing him back, right? It's like nudging me, like, because it was like he was on me about, I was feeling sorry for myself. I had a pity party moment. I had a pity party moment. And and the Holy Spirit, like God was just like, Renee, you got a whole thing to call Create with Nay. I gave you that. And then he said, and your tag was create the life you desire. He said, that part is on you. I have done everything I can. I even allowed Christ to come live inside of you. But you won't rely on him all the time because you think you know stuff. I said, no, I don't think I know stuff, God. Yes, you do. And I said, for real. Anyway, but we have a huge part to play in the outcomes of certain things. There are some things, we like to pray the serenity prayer, but that does not give us the right to just rely on God paint my house, God get me this car, God do this, God do
Mm-hmm.
this, when God has given you the ability to get everything that you need and to create the life you truly desire. And so that was like, I was like, okay, I'm tired of wrestling. So Sunday we stopped wrestling and I started worshiping again. But I said, I got to go to church now and leave worship. So we going to have to be on good terms.
That's real talk, though, Renee.
That
That's
is
real
real
talk.
talk.
Because I guarantee you, some other people on the call or the replay is saying, "Yeah, I've done that too." I mean, I know I can say I have. I mean, that's real talk.
Oh yeah. Flat
No.
foot arguing with them.
Yeah.
No. But
Right.
that's not really what he's supposed to do though.
Yeah, exactly. Yo, that's
Yeah.
real talk. And I
Yeah.
think that, like I said, we've all been through that, and we've talked to God, and we, wrestle with Him back and forth about a lot of things. And as at the end of the day, if you've ever talked to Him like that, you realize that you don't win. Like
Yeah.
he'll always drop that last little strong nugget on you, and you're like, man, you so right, God. Like, oh my God, you're so right.
Mm-hmm.
Because he knows what he needs to drop in our lives to get our attention, to let us see it from a different perspective.
Yeah. It,
So,
it's like God is saying, if you're unhappy about, even if you see all the blessings that you have, if you're really unhappy and feel like you're not living at the level where you're supposed to be living, then get up and do something. Like you just like, get up. See, when you get
mhm,
up, that's great because if you can look up, who's that? Les Brown said, if you can look up, you can get up. But you got
mhm,
to do something once you get up.
yeah,
Right.
And
yeah.
you got to learn what you got to learn. You got to do what you got to do. And I feel this, and I was not going to say anything, but I feel this so strongly that some of us want a financial change in our lives, and I hear the Lord saying that you have the ability to get it, to make
Mhm,
Mm-hmm.
a change. But if you stay in fear, you will never get it.
mm-mm,
Right.
You'll never get it.
mm-mm,
So and God is okay. He's cool with that. So you can't be mad at him. It's just like when he told me your whole thing is create the life you desire. Then get up
mhm,
and start doing
mhm,
something.
mhm,
Speak
mhm.
what you
Yeah.
want to see,
Yeah.
and then move. So it's not just about speaking it. So I'm gonna share something with y'all that I shared in my confidence seminar, and I just believe it's gonna bless somebody only because I feel so strongly that the Lord is saying, because this is what He um, said to me. And so I talked about Genesis 1:28. Pastor Matt gonna give me, but I'm gonna say it anyway. No, this is Genesis 1 and 2, I think. But when God created the heavens and the earth, right, and He said, "Let there be light." And so God told me to put, and I said this in our seminar, God told me to put what I want for my business, put it in there. So I said, so we know the scripture, and God said, "Let there be light," and there was light, and God saw that the light was good,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mhm,
So He told me to put this, and I told my students to do this, and God, the God in me, because God told me Christ is in me. I don't have to be
mhm,
this way. I don't have to just rely on natural things. I have a treasure within me, and we sometimes forget that we have the treasure within us and the kingdom within us. And so, and God in me said, "Let there be 10,000 plus dollars in sales weekly in my business," and there was 10,000 plus dollars in sales weekly in my business. And God and me saw the 10,000 plus in sales weekly in my business, that it was good. So whatever
Right.
you want to create, you say that. Like that's what he
That's
told
good.
me
Mm-hmm.
when we was fighting. He said, now type this down. Even though
Mm-hmm.
he told me this in the seminar, I hadn't gone back and did it. And he reminded me of what he
Mm-hmm.
dropped in my spirit that day during the seminar. And he said, now put that down there. And he said, okay, now you see it and it's good. So receive it. Like it's like you
Mm-hmm.
have to saw it before you see it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? You got to SAW it before you
Mm-hmm.
SEE it. And
Right.
you
Mhm.
got to call it good. You got to saw it good, that is good, so that
Mm-hmm.
you can see that it's good, so you can experience it. And so you really can create this abundant life for yourself. You don't have to live in the coulda, shoulda, wouldas because, and I we talk to women and men. Hey, Gwen, and Gwyneth, my Gwyneth is on here. She was in one of my seminars, but you don't have to in our age group because we're in this different season of our lives, right? A lot of times we feel like we miss it because we're getting to that age where young people don't think we know much of nothing, and we see so many young people doing
Yeah.
so much and they're out in the forefront. But we have the wisdom, we have the experience, we have the knowledge, and we still have value to bring. Hey, cousin Rodney, we have
Mm-hmm.
value to bring, right?
Mhm.
So you got to put it, go to Genesis 1 and 2, or is it 1 and 3? It's 1 and 2, I think. Or it was maybe 1 and 3. But go to that, and where it says, and God said, let there be light, put whatever you want your be to be so that you can call it good, so you can saw it, so then you can call it good, and then you can see it. Hey, Shell, how you doing, girl? Good to see you. One
I
of my
love that.
college girlfriends. But you have to do, like, we have to create the life we really want. We don't have to live in the coulda shoulda. Because I have
Mm-hmm.
those moments so much. Like I'm like, and I'm grateful because I learned some things, but I refuse to live in coulda, shoulda, woulda. I
Mm-hmm.
learned that I learned from my coulda, shoulda, wouldas that I ain't gonna not do it. Y'all hear that
Yeah.
country? I ain't finna not do
You
it.
ain't finna not do it.
Yeah, I love that. When you were reading, I was trying to find this scripture that I used not long ago, and I believe when you were talking about many of us are waiting on something financially, and it's in our hands. God is like He told you, I've already given you Create with Renee. Everything that He's given you is already in your hands, and I believe that the reason that you had to say that tonight and the reason that we have this shoulda, coulda, woulda is because this is what I believe. I'm not going to read it all, but I'll read just a little bit of it. I believe this is what the Lord wants for us in our lives. And he wants to do this, what I'm about to read, in our lives, like immediately. But it depends on us. The ball is in our court. And this is Amos 9 and 13. And you all already know it's the Message Bible, okay? It said, yes, indeed, it won't be long now, God's decree. Things are going to happen so fast, your head will swim. One thing fast on your heels of the other, you won't be able to keep up. Everything will be happening at once, and everywhere you look, blessings. Blessings like wine pouring off the mountains and the hills. So I'll stop right there. He said it's going to happen. So where we're looking at, like, oh, I done lost so much time, He will restore it.
Come
And
on.
He's going to catapult you in such a way until, yes, CC, He said it's going to happen so fast, your head will spin and you won't have time to keep up. Those are the types of things that God wants to put in our hands if we just use what He's given us.
Hmm.
That's His promise to us.
Yeah.
So but you can't get this living in the past. Like you talked about, He's already given things to you. It's in your hands to be able to move forward.
Hmm. And so when you put what the doing with your belief of what you're speaking, that's when it happens. Like
Mhm.
one of our family's confession, and we've been confessing this since 2020, end of 2020. Sudden manifestation of good health, much wealth, and supernatural success. But here's the thing: we're not just saying it; we're working. You understand what I'm saying? Like you can't be one of those Christians that or believers in God that just now you can be, but if you know God has called you to something, you need to be doing something, even if you're planning. Like we around the dinner table normally ends up in meetings, right? Or and not really formal meetings, but we're always kind of having those conversations because we have to keep it before you. You know what I'm talking about with the vision? You write it, but you gotta keep it before you so you know where your milestones are, so you can see the progress you've made, so that you can get to your destination and your because I believe we're living in destiny. I believe our manifestation will be sudden, like it's gonna just come. It's just we will stand. It's gonna be just. It's gonna. That song is amazing. It's such a powerful song. If you haven't heard it, please go download it. Sing Sister Sing. Renee Lee presents Sing Sister Sing Volume One. We Will Stand. It's called We Will Stand, but you got to put Sing Sister Sing in there. We Will Stand. That song is so powerful. It is. I can't tell you how many. And I love when musicians and other singers and songwriters say that's a bad song, in a good way. But because that just kind of validates it, even though you know that anyway. And I know one thing is that I'm a really great songwriter. Like I am a phenomenal songwriter, and I know all my songs are to minister to people into the world. Like they're such massive. They're for the multitude. It really is. We Were Stand is all about that. Matthew said Nehemiah principle: review your vision every 28 days. Okay, Pastor Matt, review the Nehemiah principle. Review your vision every 20 that, and I think we did that because we would have vision Sundays and talk about that every 28 days. Yeah. And thank you, Gwyneth. Thank you, Gwyneth. I'm not saying that braggadociously by any means, but I'm saying it because I know who gave me the lyrics. Do you understand? Listen, God is in me. And I think that's what he was trying to tell me. Like, stop that. Stop, girl, stop. I'm in you. I am in you. Christ is in you, the hope of glory. You got everything you need in you to get the wealth that you want in your life manifested. And so I say things with confidence. Now, here's my book. Like Rose talking about hers. This is mine. And I got hers right here. And she needs to start having it so she can show it every week and posting it. But listen, we have to operate in that confidence. Like we have to. You have to know that God called you to do this. You have to know that God called you to be this excellent, one of the best fundraisers in America, Tori. You got to know that. And when you know that, you operate differently. You walk into a room like, I got this. Because you know who I got goodness and mercy following me, and God, Christ, Jesus Christ on the inside. I mean, you got some power behind you on that, right? So you just have to know whatever it is God has called you to do. Walk in confidence and know that, like, and execute that way. Because once you study what you need to study, learn what you need to learn, get the skill set you need to get, you operate so differently. So get the book. If you can't get my coaching services, get this book because it will help you. Shameless plug.
That's right. That's right. And I'm sure that book was birthed out of something, and if you would have stayed in the shoulda, coulda, woulda stage, you would not be able to talk about that. And
Right.
that's why it's so important to pour ourselves out of that mentality, because there are books in many of us. There are books in us. There are, like you talked about, your songs. There are songs in us. There's so much potential and power that's on the inside of us that we don't even know, because we're afraid to just step out there. A friend of mine has a book, Chris Sands, that says do it scared. And so that's a good book to give you some motivation too. It's on Amazon. Do it scared. If you're scared, do it scared. And just watch how God orchestrates himself through your life and through you doing it.
Pastor Matt said, in I can't remember the sermon title right now, but He said, do it scared and do it scarred. Because you
Yep.
probably have been wounded somewhere along the line. But you got to do it scared when you feel like,
Absolutely.
I don't know if I got it. You ain't got to have everything together. You just don't have to be, because I know there are perfectionists out there. I was one of them people. And I know Tori is, because I worked for her for a minute. Lord Jesus. But I love her though. But she's a perfectionist. But she is a perfectionist. Because if it ain't right, she will say you make it. She don't turn that home. But But the truth of the matter is, you just do it. Like, just do it. That's what I tell some of my clients. Like, you just got to do it. Get the clarity you need, and then do it. Here's step one. Do that, right?
Mhm.
And so you have to, because writing your book road, that wasn't easy. That was a process to that. You didn't
Mhm.
just sit down and get it done. It's a process.
Mhm.
And
It
guess
is a process.
and you
Mhm.
grow while you're going. Yeah, Tori, you're working on one, and so it's like there's a
Mhm.
process to that, but you're growing and you're thinking, you're developing, and God is doing so much in you during the process of it,
Yeah.
because you're
Mhm.
Oh my.
intentional about it.
Yes. So I love this. I would say, Renee, why would you say such a thing?
But you know,
But perfectionist has hindered me, and I am quite sure so many others, from achieving high potentials further maybe sooner, because
Mhm.
you want it right. The perfectionist, what I have learned about it is, trying to be a perfectionist has it's trying to cover up the scars and the insecurity about self,
Mhm.
of the instead of doing it to say that I inviting God into the process, and seeing my image of how he sees me, and
Mhm.
not what others may think. I will tell you, even in this, I am birthing something. When I first started writing, it was really like, okay, you know how you type, and you're typing, and it's just coming out. There may be some misspelled words or grammatical errors. And I had a whole week where I was so discouraged, because you know what hit me? The fact is that what was said, what the enemy put in my head,
Mhm.
girl, you can talk, you smart, but you can't write. You got a law degree, you can't write. How can you write? How would you want somebody to read your book, and you can't even put a sentence well together? That was my truth. That was my truth. That hindered me for a whole week, until I had to go back and really just sit and was like, Lord, do you really want me to do this? I want to do it. I want to finish it. I do want to finish it. Everything about this year, what I want to do is finish it, from the job to whatever, doing this book, just even doing things right within my marriage, with my children, with my friends, with
Mhm.
relationships. It's to do it scared, do it bold, do it right. Have the confidence, whether you right, wrong, or indifferent, whether you should have done something or said something that you should have not. Maybe you've done something that you probably shouldn't have done, but you did it anyways. Fessing up and doing it right is what it is. It's finishing strong and doing it. And that's where I am. I am birthing something. I am in the process of writing it, but I'm staying diligent, staying
Mhm.
diligent. Distractions are coming my way every day, literally every day. But I have to say that I'm focusing on that. Only if I give 10 minutes to it, I did it.
Mhm.
And
That's
now what
right.
I do is that is a lot of red lines in the
Mhm.
pages, but I don't go back and focus on that. What I focus is on what's being poured, what's in that moment, of what he's telling me to push out. And so it's not what I want to say, is what he wants me to say.
Mhm.
Or if those moments of reflection, that is that this is a teachable moment for somebody to learn. It's
Mhm.
me being vulnerable, being seeing it, and I can't wait. It's many pieces. I started off with one thing and another thing, but it's the fact that, God, what it is just write it, just put it, just dump it,
That's right.
regurgitate it all out,
Mhm.
and then whatever comes of it is going to be a beautiful manuscript that he planted and all
Mhm.
I did was nurture it. But what I did was finish strong. Many times I see those moments of dust on my feet, or like I made the mention of the ash when you're lotioning and you forget a part on your ankle or something. The enemy sometimes want me to see those things, but I just stay focused on who I am and what he's asking me to do. Y'all, I just want to be, that intentionality for me is finishing strong, finishing, and I want to be empty. I want to, I want to be able to learn from those missed opportunities because I was quiet or because I walked away and being offended and not valuing what true relationship is with self, with God, but with those that I have that are around me. Oftentimes, God put people in your life in a particular season for a reason, whether if it's good, bad, or indifferent. They're there for a reason. They're there for a reason. So when I tell you this has just been so refreshing for me today. This conversation, I love this girl chat right here.
Mhm.
Yes,
It's
yes.
good. It's
Yeah, so y'all
good.
go listen to India and think about that. But yeah, it's been a great conversation. Listen, I want to share something. CC Northern, um, you were the one who was blessed with the when women get into position
Mhm.
devotion. Have you started that yet? I'm gonna wait for you to answer in the chat. Hopefully, you're still on with us. Um, but while she's oh, she texted me something. CC, you so funny. But thank you, Karen. Great conversation, sisters. Thank you. Listen, I just want to share this with you. Hopefully, she'll answer me if she's still live with us. But I just want to share this with you. This is um, the sequel to the Get Into Position 7-day devotion that we did last year after the conference and after our live event last year. And so I wrote another one, When Women Get Into Position, Right Posture for a Righteous Purpose. It's a 21-day devotional. When I tell you this thing is good to me. So you can order today. You can just go to abrfirmmemphis.com and order that. Let me see if I have ABI firm up. I don't even know if I have that website up. Yes, I do. So I think you can, yeah, there it is. You can go there and get the book, get the devotion. It's so good. So we're going to start. You did the first one today. Cool, man. She said she did the first day. And it's so good already. Positioned to produce about Eve. Okay, great, great. Yeah, honey. Eve is somebody, honey. But let's and we were Ro mentioned something about was it you Ro that mentioned something about pity? You was telling people you said something earlier on in the show about it. I can't remember. But that
I
could
said I was pitying. I had a pity. I
yeah,
pitied myself. Uh, that's why that she was at Tori was asking me how did I get out of the rut
yes.
that I was in. I said I had to stop pitying myself.
Stop pity.
Mhm.
Mhm.
And I have to say, at our age, and I say that because we're over the 40 mark. I'm over the 50 mark, and y'all are getting there. But and you know that your 40s are different from your well, I mean y'all got a few years before you get there, but y'all the babies of the show.
Bro, we right here. We right here at 50.
Right there, right there. We knocking on the door, knocking.
Knocking on the door.
Come on over here.
You know how when you DoorDash or Uber Eats or something, you said leave it at the door. Just leave 50 at the door. You ain't got to open it.
Right.
But I'm gonna tell you, it's a blessing. I count it a blessing nowadays that to be 54, even though that's just according to my birth certificate. But I'm really younger than my brothers. I'm still 49 technically. But I just wanted to. But I say that because one of my favorite things in this particular devotional is that Hannah, um, because she was postured. Her posture changed. She was feeling pity, and her posture changed to praise and worship. And she she just told God what she really wanted. So you have to change your posture sometime because then it was for a righteous purpose because
Mhm.
Samuel was the protege for right? He was his Eli's protege, right? And he he was the one to help Saul out when Saul was doing crazy stuff. Even though Saul was anointed king, he still did crazy stuff. But Samuel was the one to help guide, and he anointed David. So he became very important in the kingdom because she gave him right back to God, and then God gave her more kids, more children, because she wanted that for her life. And so, but this, I'm telling you, this journal, I mean, this devotional is it just blesses me. I love it, and I've ordered some more. So if you live in Memphis, then I can easily mail it to you. Even if you don't live in Memphis, just order it. We're going to get it to you. We're going to mail it, ship it out to you. It'll take about 2 to 3 weeks, but it will get there. So I encourage you to get that. If you have a women's group at your church, use that, get it, and use it next year as y'all study thing. It's going to be great. I'm telling you, it'll bless your life. And Cece is going to come on and be a part of those conversations as we go. A few of those conversations when we start in November. So mark your calendar, Cece. Anyway, it's been so good, and I've talked too long.
Wait a minute. Listen, at least you didn't stop mid-sentence and forget what you had to say.
She is knocking at 50 close, nice. Because you
She
do
already showing signs. She already showing signs.
showing signs, right?
Okay, 49.
I love it. I love it. The Lord is so good.
Yeah,
Listen,
this
y'all,
has been good.
we love all of you. Thank you for watching and joining us tonight. Thank you, Michelle. Michelle, my Dr. Michelle Boyce. She said it's been good. Thank you so much. Yes, you are, CC.
She said, I am.
Cece got so much in her, y'all. She's just
I like Dr. Shell's name, baby. She got Dr. Shell. New season.
New season.
Listen,
Yeah.
new season. Come on, new season.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, I love it. Well, thank y'all so much. Make sure you tag someone that may need this conversation. We enjoyed having you, Gwen. We enjoyed having you. Listen, don't forget about Clubhouse on Mondays. You could come on the virtual stage and kind of do a pre-show with us. For those who can, Eric and I pretty much are available to do that on Mondays. And sometimes Tori can pop in, and Ro may pop in, Sylvia may pop in, but Eric and I have committed to doing that just to expand our reach and actually give you more opportunity. And the goal is Crystal is going to join our team, and hopefully she will be able to help get y'all on this stage once we convince her.
Come on, Crystal. Come on, Crystal.
Once we can hey, Shonda, thank you so much. She said thank you. Oh, we enjoyed having you.
Thank you, Shonda.
Y'all just don't know the comments. Y'all are so y'all bless us too with sharing your thoughts and giving us other perspectives to think about too. So we look forward to being able to have a link available for you all to join the show and be with us live. So anyway, we love you guys. We will see you next Monday, same time, same place, right here. God bless you.
God bless y'all.